Thank you to everybody for showing up. Thank you. Thank you so much for everybody showing up. We are just ironing out a few small technical difficulties and we'll be starting. Alrighty. No. I believe this is muted for the time being, but if not, then you're hearing me in my terrible accent. Rekkai, how you feeling over there? We got about 15 seconds before we go. We got 25 people up in here already. That is incredible. Goodness gracious. Yo, that reminds me. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, the loop stopped. My bad. We got one more 30-second one. I know. And everybody's like, yo, I thought you said it was supposed to be 30 seconds. We're supposed to be going. I know what you guys are saying. It's all good. Let me go ahead and that on there. Save that as well. Boom. Okay, there we go. 10. 9, 8, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Thank you, everybody. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you chose to be here. You have no idea how grateful we are. Guess who's in the building? Rekkai. Tell the people what's going down. Hey, that's what I'm talking about. Listen, fellow Whovians, everybody been chopping at the bit. They've been like, yeah, Bridgerton's cool. Yeah, Interview with a Vampire is cool. When are we going to get this Who talk? When we going to start breaking this down? And Rekkai said, you know you got to give the people what they looking for, Mr. Syntell. So I was like, you right, Rekkai. Rekkai, what are we going to be talking about today? Yep. Mm-hmm. Yes, we do, man. It's too much going on with everything with stuff. Sorry about that small little audio thing. I'm gonna go ahead. I think this is more your wheelhouse on setting the table. We can't hear Rekkai. Okay, hold on a second. Let me see if we can't get Rekkai going. All righty, give me one moment. Un momento. Say something for me real quick, Rekkai. Oh, well, see, we should be working right then and there. Let me see. Oh, it says you are not connected, but let me see. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that. We can't hear Rekkai. Give me one moment. Rekkai, I think on your end, the audio is not connected. Oh no, it's always a little small little bits and pieces. Hold on, give me 1 second. I got a quick fix for it real quick. Give me 1 second. All right, Rekkai, say something real quick.
Yeah, can you hear me?
All right, that should be helping with some of the thing. If you can hear Rekkai, okay. Give me that thumbs up into the chat. We do apologize for that.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Okay. Sorry about that. It's there's a lot of moving pieces. Yes, they said they can hear you now. All right, beautiful. Rekkai, please. Round 2. Listen, this is the beautiful thing about these lives. It's kind of like when you're going to the theater and the guy steps up or the woman steps up on stage and and they forget their first line and they're just sitting there just staring at the lights. You'd be like, is this thing on? Okay, there we go. We're all good. Rekkai, go ahead and give like another quick little recap of what you just said regarding why we are having this conversation.
Okay, so it just so happens that last week we watched season 14, episode 5, Dot in Bubble with the 15th Doctor. And there were some things that happened in the episode where we were like, could it be? Nah, it must just be classism. But then we turn around and watch season 4, episode 3, Planet of the Ood. And we was like, wait a minute, hold up, wait a minute. This is some things that we need to talk about in the world of Who and Whovians. We need to discuss it.
Yes, exactly. And since I'm so used to just grabbing this microphone and then just running with it, I kind of want you to kind of like take charge regarding where we're going to take our first step regarding this. Are we going to hop back into old season 4 and kind of discuss some of these Ood issues, or are we going to go ahead and give the people what they want soon and early and talk about this season 14 Disney Plus rendition of the Doctor Who series that's somewhat slightly controversial? Let's see.
I think that we should start with season 14, just because, for one, that was the order in which we watched them. Mm-hmm. And we understand that us being new Whovians, we are working at a disadvantage. We started with the Christmas episode of season 14.
Just yet. Okay, they should be able to hear us now. Do apologize for the system crash that came out of nowhere. I'm hoping everybody is still there. Yes. Okay. Oh my gosh. So sorry. Once again, this is why you watch. You never know what you're gonna get. What were you saying before I was so immediately booted out of the stream? Can everybody hear us?
Yeah, can everyone hear us? I know that was an issue before.
Yeah.
So just want to make sure, yes, that we got rid of the slug monsters, that nobody blinked, that we didn't step on
Oh my
the little fairy
goodness.
circle.
Woo! Duct tape is silly putty. All right. Rekkai, go ahead, finish whatever the thought was before I blipped out on you guys so quick.
Well, I think it's interesting the way that we have gone about watching this. Like a lot of people would have just went back, started from season 1, and stayed there to stay true to the timeline, so that way you don't spoil things with yourself.
Right.
And I think we were put in an interesting position to be able to do that because the Disney start of Doctor Who is kind of a reboot. And when they kind of fill you in on things in the past, they don't really tell you a whole lot. They give you a little bit, but they don't really spoil things for you. So you have to go back and find it. And I think the craziest thing is there are so many Easter eggs and so many little callbacks in the new season that if you haven't watched a lot of the old stuff, then you'll miss it.
Yes.
So I'm sure that we are missing well over half of the stuff that we should be seeing in the episodes. But still to that point, we were watching Dot and Bubble, and we were so thrown off by the episode that we thought maybe it's not racism, maybe it's classism, maybe that's because it seems racist to me, but we're Black, so a lot of times we see things, the microaggressions and the micro inequalities that a lot of other people miss because it doesn't pertain to them. But then going back and watching Planet of the Ood in season 4, there was nothing subtle about that. That was overt. That was blatant. And as a way to address slavery and a way to address that mindset without making it be about Black folks.
Yeah. Yeah. I could certainly see that. Especially with the later one that we just got done watching. With our mythical land of very privileged people. Who are stuck in social media. I'm curious what you all think. We have no problem grabbing the microphone and going about off the top of the head what we're thinking about this episode. But honestly, if I'm being truthful, we are curious as to how you feel about these 2 episodes that we're going to be talking about. And it was very easy for classism to be the thing. You're right. In conventional storytelling, you believe what the writer says and you believe what you see, right? And in that particular story, they said that these kids were put on a planet, some youthful kids. I thought it was gonna be like some Hunger Games kind of thing or whatever, some Divergent kind of thing. Or I don't know, where you got a bunch of kids put on an island and they had to, I don't know, like fight for their living or whatever it was. But come to find out, I guess it was maybe like a safe haven for the very wealthy and the elite.
Space Ibiza.
Right. So it implied that this could be like a class thing. Like you had to be a certain age in order to be there because that was already established in the script. And you also had to be from a certain type of prosperity in order to be there. So immediately, I can only speak for myself on this. I immediately picked up on that classism because I know if you watched some of the reaction, I was like, I don't know if it's racism. I think it's going to be a classism thing because that's what was said. That was the default. But the writers and the director and the creator of the episode was brilliant in that they did these things that are kind of like under the surface, a lot of microaggressions. If you are a minority or somebody that that has to be careful with what they say and do based off of your gender, your religion, your race, or color, creed, all of that. Normally, when you're just in normal space, you can pick up on microaggressions, but you don't really see it as evident on the screen. And I think that's where we missed it because you all in the comments were amazing. You're like, yo, you don't see that? He blatantly said this, that, and the third. How could you, of all people, kind of miss that? And it's just because we've gotten so used to believing, having a trustworthy narrator, believing what we see and believing what we hear, but there was brilliance in that episode, that it was just under the surface. So I am curious, like, what was the thing that made you first pick up on it? For the chat, what was the thing where you realized it wasn't about class and it was more about race? I know some of you even mentioned that there was some interviews that was done with the producer, and they said, and the writers, who said straight up, yeah, this is an issue about race, and how Chuti's character of the doctor and how he was responding to it. Because I missed how much she like dismissed him every time he popped on the screen. She was like, "I don't want to listen to you," ban, block. I missed all of that. Now I feel a little, I can't lie, I do feel a little silly, because I pride myself on being observant, and I missed what was standing right in front of me. One quick shout out to the chat real quick. I'm gonna start doing some of this. This is coming out from the Riney 2024, who said, "Racism and classism go hand in hand, don't they?" That is an interesting question. I don't believe they do. I do think they're two totally different things, but the outcome of that biasness due to that can seem very similar. Big huge shout out to Hunting Violets, who is a huge fan of the channel. Thank you. I appreciate Hunting Violets because they are as supportive as they are critical. Who said, "Yeah, I was surprised you didn't talk about the racism in Dot and Bubble. I'm white, but I saw a lot of it. But I noticed a lot of white reactors and people on Twitter have not." See, that makes me, I feel like my antenna weren't sticking up. Rekkai, you have anything to say regarding what we've been reading so far?
So here's the thing. I picked up on it right away, but I think for me, I dismissed it. I don't know. I have to just think, like, watching Doctor Who, I didn't think it was that. My first thought when Chuti became the Doctor was hearing all the vitriol that was going around about Jodie Whittaker, and the thought that Doctor Who had gone woke, which I absolutely hate as a term, because it is used so improperly. It's ridiculous. The whole thing about being woke is that there was something that you were missing and you needed to wake up. That is where it comes from. It comes from the 60s. It comes from the Black Panther Party and stuff like that, where you need to wake up, brother. Y'all are not woke enough. So when people say woke, it's the slang way of saying liberal agenda we don't want to deal with. And that's all they mean. It's things that we don't want to talk about, we don't want to think about. It's woke. And it bothers me so much. So one of my first thoughts about Chuti becoming the Doctor was, if the Doctor is experiencing all of these things, the full gamut of human interaction, human experience, why wouldn't he, the Doctor, experience what it's like to be a woman? Because that is a different experience for Jodie Whittaker, just across the board right now. Is a different experience to be a woman than what it was for David Tennant or any of the other previous doctors we've had.
Right.
It's a different experience completely. Again, because now you take another step, or matter of fact, 2 steps off the beaten path, where you make the Doctor not only Black, but queer. Listen, if you want to hear about the not even micro, but macro aggressions, and one of the powers of the Doctor, and we saw it especially with Christopher Eccleston and David Tennant, and we admit we haven't got to Matt Smith or Peter Capaldi yet. One of the superpowers was a Doctor could walk in any room and own the room. He just start barking orders and acting like I'm that guy, and everyone fell in line and did exactly what he wanted them to do. You cannot tell me that Jodie Whittaker could have got away with that. Maybe. You definitely can't tell me that Chuti can get away with that. So as a Doctor, he's going to have to find a different way to operate as the Doctor, and maybe even more so under a radar, just because the natural way that the Doctor takes control of a situation. And we saw that in Dot and Bubble. Why won't you let me save you?
Yeah.
They weren't having it. They weren't having it. You,
Yeah.
sir, are not one of us.
That to me
And
was a very
that can
big
mean
part.
so many things.
Yeah. I can't agree with you more. To me, I thought the episode was just okay until really like that moment, and then it really stood out. And then it was that moment of the usual suspect when he's like looking at the board and you see all the pieces kind of like coming
Mhm.
together. That's what that moment was to me when he was like, "Why won't you let me help me? Why won't you let me help you?" Wanted to turn the direction of this back to everybody that is in the chat. This is coming from Fleeson771 who said it's divided a lot of people. I heard the argument. I've heard the argument. It was written by a white man for white people, but a lot of people, regardless of color, didn't see it. I think there's a bit of, I've said this before, I do think that there is a bit of brilliance in that a lot of times the racism is a lot of microaggressions. It's not just blatantly in your face. It's not like somebody's, holding a noose in front of you, or doing something that overt. It's taking different forms, and I think, at least I'd hope, that it was written in that with that kind of like same energy. Like, we're gonna say these things that, unless you're like really paying attention, you may miss. One small quick note before I hand the mic over to you, Rekkai. Well, as you can see, thank you all so much. We have a nice packed house so far. If you do want to get your question out very, very quickly, immediately, that's what the super chat is for. So if you hop in there and you're like, I need this answer, this question answered as quickly as humanly possible, please feel free to hit up the super chat. We are going to try to address as many of the questions in the chat as possible, because we want you all to fuel this conversation more than just me and Rekkai to fuel this conversation. Rekkai, what do you got to say regarding anything that you've seen in the chat, or just this question in general?
Yeah, I want to jump on this right quick.
Yeah.
So this one, Mr. Kevin Pope said that both of the last two doctors have no range, weak, and the writing is all over the place. Now, I cannot speak for Jodie Whittaker. Haven't seen not one episode of her as the doctor. We are 6 episodes and a Christmas episode in on Chuti, and to say that he has no range is baffling to me, in the least. The man is magnetic. He's charming. He comes off the screen, and even in the episodes that were very light for him, I mean, he still had a presence. Here's the one thing about, now I did understand and I did hear, and again, this is hearsay. I can't say definitively for myself. The Jodie Whittaker era was the showrunner was Chris Chibnall, and he's one of the former writers from the show. And I do understand from what I hear that the writing was a bit of a mess and it was kind of all over the place. And there were certain things, it's almost like there were certain things in Who lore that he tried to retcon or tried to put his own twist on them, and that didn't go over well with people. And I'm not sure how much of it was the writing, because if anybody who listened to us will say, number one, story is king.
Yeah.
To us, story makes the difference. And then the strength of your villain can really do something for your series. Because really, if you go back and look at, and again, different series, different set of circumstances, you go back and look at Dark Knight. The Dark Knight is really an awful movie without Heath Ledger's The Joker. He made that movie. Go back, if you take out all Heath Ledger, the Joker scenes, take them out, that movie is almost unwatchable.
Now that is an interesting hot take. Curious what you all think of the chat with that as well. Continue.
I mean, it's really not, I mean, it's just kind of, it was one of the same things about the Batman Begins. That Liam Neeson playing Ra's al Ghul wasn't compelling. As good an actor as Liam Neeson was, it wasn't much of a film. And when that Dark Knight came out, everyone, they hated Heath Ledger being chosen as the Joker. Said he was the wrong choice. And that just goes to show how much, those of us who think that they know. Um, I I really do think that Chuti has really shown up this particular season. Russell T Davies is back as a showrunner. He's in charge. His writing is always been actually quite good. And really, as far as who writers, Russell T Davies, and really at the top of the mountain though is Stephen Moffat. Stephen Moffat, almost every episode he's written has been a classic. And the one episode that he wrote this season, Boom, was actually quite fantastic. And even though the season started off silly with the church at Ruby Road and Space Babies, ever since The Devil's Core, the episodes have gotten much stronger and better.
Yeah.
I just think that if we're going specifically on Dot and Bubble, I watched Dot and Bubble, you watched Dot and Bubble, we watched it together, and I felt it, but I thought that I was off. And I was like, no, that's not, I don't know if that's what they're trying to convey, because it does seem like classism. And I didn't feel it overtly until the end, until she went from, a girl who couldn't walk in a straight line, and she's so privileged that she turned into a killer, threw Ricky Saturday under the bus and killed him and had no compunction, went out and lied about it. And then the way that she dealt with the doctor in person, the microaggressions were so strong. I was like, wait a minute, this has got to be not only classism, but really, really racism, the kind that most people don't see because it doesn't affect them. It doesn't pertain to them. And going back in the comments were like, how did y'all miss this? And I was like, yeah, it wasn't that we missed this, but we didn't think that that was the crux. That was where we were going. But yeah, you're right. And I even told Syntell, I went and watched a couple of the bigger channels, some of the other big reactors out there who, have just big channels and big followings. And when they reviewed this, not a single one of them brought racism, microaggressions, any of that. They all were on the surface, and it was all a discussion about classism.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, they missed something here. And I really think it's a testament to the writing, that you can drop things in there for further reflection, even if some people did miss it, because maybe they'll come back, and that's just kind of like one of the reasons why we're having this talk. Somebody brings something up and be like, ooh, I didn't think about it that way. Hold on, now let me enter some new information and recompute. That was one of the problems that we had. If you go back to Syntell's channel and my channel, we did a reaction and I did a deep dive. We did the deep dive together. Again, a matter of race, but it wasn't about race, on the Book of Clarence. Listen,
hold on, before hold on.
Yeah.
I gotta pause you just for a second because because the Book of Clarence is gonna be a second. I want to make sure we address some of these comments real quick. And hold that thought on the segue into Book of Clarence because I think that is going to be very interesting because that is a very controversial movie. I just wanted to give a quick shout out to say shout out to Tori X who said so we started to think there may be parts of the monster that had racist tones. I don't know about that, but thank you for your comment.
Now that part of so Tori had put up a previous comment where she said they do watch parties,
right?
And she said that they thought it was classism until about halfway in. Then they started, and all the people at her watch party started picking up on the racist overtones and the microaggressions. She said they started picking up about halfway through.
Yeah.
And she said at the end, they was like, oh, yeah, definitely.
That's interesting. Watching it with a bunch of people in real time, you can see it kind of all unfold.
Of our earlier comment, yeah.
Okay, all right. A big, huge shout out to Grant G, who said, "What do you think? What do you think Susan Twist has to do with the TARDIS?" I'm curious as to which episode are we talking about specifically with Susan G. and the TARDIS.
Yeah,
We'll have to come
well,
back to
in
that.
Dot and Bubble,
Okay.
Susan Twist was a mummy. That was Lindy Pepperbean's mom, and
Okay.
it was the lady who has shown up in every episode this
That's right.
season. What is her deal? Um, and so Grant G is asking about specifically what does that have to do with the TARDIS? It's hard to say because now the fact is, and what I'm kind of loving is, and we saw in if you have seen this week's episode of Rogue, where they're very meta and they're mentioning things that are like, why are they mentioning that in the current Doctor Who? They're talking about Bridgerton in the current Doctor Who. That's actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
But they also pointed out in the last in Dot and Bubble and in this one, wait a minute, we keep seeing this lady. Who is that?
Right.
Why is this same lady showing up everywhere? And she has been in every episode this season. As a matter of fact, I don't know if she was in the Christmas episode. I haven't gone back to go and see if she was, but episodes 1 through 6 that we've seen so far, she was.
Yeah, I am willing to bet she is in the Christmas episode because she has been. If there has been a through line, be it a plot point or anything else, it has been her image. It is everywhere. Thank you so much for Grant G. And this is coming from Cool Engines, Christy Trekkie. Thank you so much for dropping in your conversation, dropping in the question or comment. Said it's sad that she had enough self-preservation that she threw Ricky under the bus, but not enough to let the doctor save them because of his color. That's very, very telling. And to commit murder. Let's not forget that. I think a lot of people seem to just kind of like bypass the fact that this chick is a murderer. This is from Sot Oreo, who said, I hate to admit I didn't even consider it until you, sir, aren't one of us on rewatch, and it all seems so obvious. Thank you all so much. As you can see, we're going to try and knock out many questions as we possibly can. This is kind of a bit of an AMA and ask me anything. We want you all to kind of like fuel this conversation. You had a very interesting point that you're going to segue into the book of Clarence. Let me answer a couple more questions, and then we'll hop back into that moment.
Mm-hmm.
This is from Hunting Violets again, who is just an absolute OG. I'm going to go ahead and give you some applause just because you deserve that. You are the big winner.
Hunting Violets show.
Said, hey, that's a very long applause. I think the first thing that was the whole Zoom wall was So Pale and Doctor Who usually at least throws in some extras who are not so beige, if nothing else. Yeah, I do remember us watching and even saying, it's like, man, does everybody here have like blonde hair, blue eyes? It was one of those things like you kind of notice, but here's the thing. If you're a minority in the world, when you see like a lot of white people, it's not jarring because that's just the space you live in. You're a minority in that space. I'm sure it's like that if you're Indian, Asian, or whatever it is, if you are in the majority area. But so for us, and I can only really let me speak for myself, to see like that many white people on the Zoom call, it wasn't enough to like hit any triggers until you just started seeing things a little bit more obvious. Like everybody's got blonde hair and blue eyes. It's like, oh, okay, well, I'm starting to get the messaging a little bit more.
One little friend was a redhead, the friend that had a little tam on that she hugged at the very end. She's like, oh, yeah, we're doing this now.
Right.
She was a redhead. So it's one of those things that, yes, I did notice that all the people on the call were Caucasian, but I didn't overthink that because if that's social media, you talk to who's in your circle. And you know what I'm saying? Your immediate circle, your top 9 or 12 friends or whatever, like she is, that might be all people that are very much like you.
Yeah.
So it's not, I didn't overthink that at the time.
Yeah, good. I'm glad. That's why I love doing some of this work with you, because there's a lot of things I'm too busy processing, color schemes and why they took this camera shot. And you'd be like, no, you don't see this obvious thing. Rekkai, you're brilliant for that. Big, huge shout out and applause as well to Todd Stevensboro, another OG, triple OG, man. Thank you so much for all the support. I said, I thought it was class until the friends said voodoo. Yeah, that did. Yeah, that kind of stuck out like a sore thumb. Rekkai, you were saying something in the terms of converging Doctor Who into the Book of Clarence. Do you want to continue that thought, or you want to address some more of these questions?
Well, just and I'll hurriedly bring it back to the point I was trying to make was the Book of Clarence was a stinker, and for whatever, if you've seen it, if you haven't seen it, the whole point of it, it was a movie done, not necessarily a religious movie, but a religious backdrop, and it was about people around the story around the time of Jesus. However, the entire cast was African American for the most part. James McAvoy was in it, some other folks. So it was mostly African American. It was about happenings in Jerusalem around the time of the story of Jesus. Most people saw the movie as blasphemy and, came out against it hard. Didn't even watch the movie, never saw one frame of the movie, but came against it hard. And a lot of it is when you find something that goes against your way of thinking, if your foundation is weak, you may do exactly that and rail against it, say what you have to say without being open enough to watch it and be like, yeah, I didn't like that, or that really wasn't for me. Or be able to look at it, reflect, and incorporate new information into your lexicon, and be able to have an intelligent conversation. And that's one of the things I love about a majority of our Whovians and the people that rock with us, because they are open enough. We're learning. We are new Whovians, and we're absolutely loving this universe. And I think because we come in at the point that we are coming in, we don't already have a solid notion of this is exactly who is, what it means to me, and you can never introduce new information and I won't be accepted because that's not my who. No, who is a rapidly changing and evolving world, and it's fun, it's mythical, it's sci-fi, and at the end of the day, it's wibbly wobbly timey wimey. You know,
Yeah.
and you have to love that. And some of the showrunners, some of the writers, they get it and they write to the character's strengths. And from what I understand, not what I know, but from what I've been told so far, is that when Chris Chibnall was writing Jodie Whittaker's era, uh, that maybe he didn't get it. And that's okay. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes it's one thing, maybe you can write a great song. That doesn't mean that you can put out a great album. You understand? So, if he was a showrunner for 3 years, maybe he had some good episodes in there. But I've heard a lot of people dropped off during the Peter Capaldi series. Like a lot of people, for whatever reason, they liked Matt Smith. Some people said he was kind of boring to them. But a lot of people, there was a lot of pushback when Peter Capaldi was cast as the Doctor, because people said that he was too old. Which, if you see any of the classic Who, almost all of the classic Who were older actors as the part of the Doctor.
Yeah.
And it was with Christopher Eccleston, and especially David Tennant blew it up, and he made Doctor Who like even bigger than what it was. That people started, coming down to a much younger Doctor.
All right, that's a good place to pause there. I think somebody is co-signing what you're saying. Big shout out to the Rainy 2024 who said wrong for Capaldi. Oh wow! So you may be not the only one that's sharing that same sentiment. Big shout out to Max 410 Berry said yes. Caught y'all's live. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're just happy to answer everybody's questions. As you can see, we're going down the list and trying to knock out as many questions as we possibly can. If you need something that just needs to be said, like right now, that's what the super chats are for. Big, huge shout outs to Chris Phil, who I thought this was interesting. Who said, I loved how they showed Fine Time as an archetypical fascist society, racism embedded so deep that they'll happily consume each other as well. Racism is self-destructive and destructive to the other people as well. Thank you for that comment.
Let me throw in.
Go ahead. Absolutely.
So, Tomas Rodriguez Martinez, another faithful. Thank you again for showing up for us, Tomas.
Yes, thank you.
Said Peter was great. Why would you leave him? And all I'm saying again, we have not seen Peter's episodes, so I'm not saying that he wasn't great. All I'm saying is that's what I've heard, that for whatever reason, there's a swath of people on the interwebs that said he's too old, and they probably left and didn't even watch any of his episodes, watched one or two episodes. I have heard he's great. I did a image poll on my community page, and I said, what is the best episode of Who that you've ever watched? There was a large number of people that have pointed to 2 episodes during the Capaldi era, and I've heard that he was great, and I can't wait for us to get there and see it. I don't know what the disconnect was with Capaldi, and maybe the people who came in solely with Christopher Eccleston or just started with David Tennant was like, well, no, because he's not like my dude.
Mm.
And it's easy to have that thing, Andrew Garfield wasn't like Tobey Maguire. What's the dude? Uh the
You
new
talking
Tom
Tom
Holland.
Tom Holland. Yeah.
Tom Holland. He's not like Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield. That doesn't mean that you stop watching Spider-Man. I mean, yeah, the Amazing Spider-Man 2 was not a good movie, but neither was the first one, Spider-Man 3. That was terrible. I get it.
Yeah. That Spider-Man 3, I just kind of rewatched that not too long ago, and it's not as horrible as I originally thought it was. It's still the weakest of the 3, though. I will give you that.
It's the weakest of 3, and it had too many horrible parts. So you can't follow up a good movie and a great movie with this. What are we doing?
Yeah.
I'm a huge James Bond fan, and people will swear by Sir George Lazenby. I remember Sean Connery was that guy.
Yeah.
He was that guy. I hated Roger Moore. I didn't like Timothy Dalton. I liked Pierce Brosnan. I really liked Daniel Craig. The thing is, you can either like them all or not. I still showed up for James Bond movie because I'm a fan of James Bond. I might not like how Roger Moore played James Bond. I've seen every one of his movies though.
Yeah, and we'll to kind of stem into some of the sentiment that you were saying. Big huge shout out to Tori X, who said Chuti not having range. I'd argue that 15 has the most range of any doctor, 9th and onward. Yo, Tori dropped the gauntlet. I just want to give some applause just for being like, nah, I ain't trying to hear any of that. I'm not saying that I necessarily agree.
I don't hear it on my side. I'm sure you heard it on your side.
Oh, I heard a little bit of a ding kind of sound.
That's the big baller side of her. I didn't hear it.
Oh, absolutely. And you already know how we're going to do this. Yo. Thank you so much for that super chat. Dr. Strangelove, you are the big winner. Thank you so much. Thank you. Let's see what you said. He said a lot of the Doctor Who community is annoying about David Tennant and can't let him go. So they just nonstop complain about the show past him and the doctors who come after him because they aren't David. I don't care which community you go to, there is going to be some people that are going to have difficulties letting go of the past. It's in the Star Trek community, it's in the Star Wars community, it's in the Marvel community, especially when you're coming up with different renditions that grow through the generations. Me and Rekkai have this talk when it comes to basketball and sports all the time regarding old generation people versus new generation people. And there's an emotional attachment that comes with that. Captain Kirk will always be my captain just because I grew up with him. It's just what it is. So I think that is what happens. But I think for me, the issue that I have when it starts to have that little toxic smell is that you go out of your way to destroy a character's character simply because they don't look a certain way, think a certain way, or do things in a way that make you overtly comfortable. And the beauty for me regarding Doctor Who is that you're talking about a being, a Time Lord that can embody anything, man, woman, child, age, whatever, religious, sexual connotation, race, all that, you name it, this entity can embody it. So that means anything that you could possibly think of within the spectrum of what it means to be a human being, this doctor can experience. So the vitriol that comes when something puts you in an uncomfortable space is what's concerning to me regarding that. I know we're kind of beating it over the head over and over again, but I want to make sure that we aggressively talk about Dr. Strangelove's super chat because we are so grateful for the for the love that you're showing to the channel. Rekkai, I'm off my soapbox. How you feeling?
No, it's okay. So let's go to the next super chat right here, and that's and no stranger to DJ Hijack.
Yes, sir.
Chuti is the first doctor to not have a costume.
Huh.
Oh, and the brother needs to chill on the cocoa butter. Dude, be shiny.
Wait a minute.
And that's why you saw me laugh a second ago, because hey, Chuti do be shiny.
Yo, my man be glossy.
Yeah, he be glossy. He be having red all cocoa butter.
Look, I got my chapstick. I always keep it on because you never know. But my dude, boy, in between each new setup, boy, my man got the. Look, I'm even shining now, so I got to be careful about how much I judge. But yeah, man, Chuti be hella glossy.
And the thing about it is, the one thing that I enjoy, again, aside from acting, is that Chuti, when all the different eras and everywhere we've been, that we've seen a real costume change. Again, we are working at a disadvantage. We're only in season 4 with the Doctor and Donna. However, like if you look at season 3 with the 10th Doctor and Martha, they went back in time to not ancient, but damn near medieval times, 1800s or so, where Martha, the first thing she says, hold up, am I about to have a problem? Like, I understand where we are and the time. Is there about to be a problem? And David Tennant, just, again, the writing, and one of those things that we appreciated, that she said it. Because that was the first thing that we thought too, like, oh shit. But he said, no, just walk around like you own the place. They didn't even make a costume change. They made no attempt to blend in whatsoever. And that's just the power of the Doctor. This Doctor, just because you have to take into account him being a African American, not even African American, being a Black fellow, and maybe also being queer. I don't know how much that would play into it though. He has to do more to blend in for him to be able to accomplish whatever the task is, for him to find the information he needs to find whatever, monster, whatever task it is in that particular episode. He has to do more to blend in. So the costume changes to me are great. I don't know if that's his suggestion or just a suggestion, but logically for me, they make sense and they work.
Yeah. It's he says something I thought was interesting regarding just the blending of everything. Because when you do look drastically different than the general consensus of people around you, you do kind of have to really like take that into consideration. Big huge shout out to Todd Stevensboro again, who said, the fan narrative is that Jodie was a great doctor who got bad writing. I was really against the retcons, but RTD is using them so well. I'm reconsidering. Thank you so much. Another huge shout out to Guy Rogan, who said, I don't think the show's woke, but most of the Jodie stuff was indeed poo-poo. Now, there is something to that. Now, just because I caught a lot of flack with the Star Wars reaction, and duly so, because that's what we should catch as reactors. That just because something has what is considered, woke content, be it a woman in there, be it somebody who's queer or gay or somebody who's Black, does not give you a absolute pass for poo-poo performances. Like, don't get it twisted. There's another side of that. People just want to anoint something just because it decides to have some inclusivity into it. So there is a conversation for that. I just want to be clear. You just don't get the pass just because you're inclusive. It still needs to be good. At the end of the day, we've said it a million times. Story is everything, and without a good story, nothing else really matters. And it's almost a waste of time and resources without a good, solid story. What are you about to say?
Well, I just thinking you're absolutely right. I hate when people write it off because it's woke or whatever. That's just ridiculous. And then on the other side of that, for us who are ready to love the fact that there's some inclusivity and there's some diversity, we don't automatically give it a pass because it had that. That don't have nothing to do with the writing, with the story, with a character's portrayal. Um, we saw that, and again, you bring up the acolyte. Like, listen, I think we were, two of those reactors that were like, yeah, this is not up to the standard. And it wasn't, because it was woke. It was woke because no, there are some problems here. You have to actually watch it and watch it. No, there's some problems in it. We didn't go into it with any kind of preconceived notion, or I didn't like, oh, this is gonna be great because it got a black lead character. And no,
Mm,
that didn't get nothing to do with it.
mm, mm.
There are problems with it. And when the story comes together, when the villain comes together and we can see it, then it's like, okay, now let's talk about it. Uh-oh. I heard the ching a ching ching ching.
Oh! I do hear that. Oh yeah, you already know what's going on. I want to give some of
just
these,
have to put it up.
some of the supply.
Oh, and listen, that's somebody from across the pond because that's 10 pounds. That's
Oh,
not $10.
it is. It is 10 pounds, which is a lot different.
10 pounds.
It jingles a lot differently in the bag.
Yes, it's the Queen's Sterling, sir.
Oh, let me see. Did you want to take this or you want me to grab this one?
Well, it's Alex Simpkin. Thank you very much. It grinds my gears when people say Doctor Who has now become woke. Classic Lou literally has a writer who is a member of the British Communist Party. Okay, I didn't know that. That was interesting. If the Doctor Who is woke, it's always been woke. Listen, come through with the strong comment. I did not know that.
I did not either.
And I love the fact, like, I think it was just maybe a couple weeks ago that we learned that RTD is a queer, an openly gay man. I had no idea. To me, I didn't see it in the writing, um, and it makes sense. But I thought that because Doctor Who is a term lord, can go anywhere, anytime, and do almost anything, that it made sense that they cover the entire breadth of human experience. Which, if you're not covering Black people, queer people, listen, people gonna lose their mind if the doctor mess around and be like in a wheelchair or something, like, you know what I'm saying?
Oh
Like,
yeah,
handicapped.
yeah.
It's like, how can the doctor be handicapped? Listen, if he's trying to understand that experience, I don't know what it's like to not have use of my legs or something else like that. So that's a whole different experience. To lose a sense or something is a whole different experience. Tomas says that Captain Jack swings in all directions. Yes,
Anybody can get it from Captain Jack.
Anybody can get it.
Anything can get it.
Yeah, I fully believe that with Captain Jack. And to me, Captain Jack is what they call a pansexual.
Oh man.
And I did see a comment very early on at the beginning of the stream where it talked about that I was a little bit off base about the charges. I think it was like sexual harassment on the set for John Barrowman in real life.
Okay.
But whatever the charges were, I don't think he was jailed or what have you, because again, he's an older gentleman who came up in a different time, and sometimes you don't let go of those older sentiments. And because we watch Porky's movies and a lot of stuff that is not PC in 2024, but it was okay in 1984. Um, he plays a different way, and a lot of people didn't appreciate it. So I don't think that he will be back to any set of Doctor Who. And I think it's kind of sad because I really did like Captain Jack as a character. And I'm not saying that Rogue is his replacement. It's not a bad replacement because Jonathan Groff is an amazing actor. And he really showed up on that episode of Rogue. But we'll see. Again, we are coming to the end of season 14.
Yeah.
And I really want to see someone to put in the chat where it's going to be nice to see what it's like for the 15th Doctor to be tested. He's been extremely emotional all season, and I think it's one of those things. And Listen, y'all know how when you watch my deep dives and my breakdowns, I do tend to get a little personal. Since I have gotten older myself,
Mhm.
a lot of things that I watch on TV or something, I don't know what it is. It's hitting me in a different place because some of the experiences, some of the trauma I've either gone through or gotten over through therapy, things are hitting me different these days.
Mm.
And something I'd have watched and be like, ah, yeah, that was cool. You know what I'm saying? I'd be like, oh, why is there dust in the air? Is it, what is going on? Oh, Lord. You know, it's
That's who
like,
here
what?
cutting onions.
Why my eyes sweating? My eyes over here sweating. I don't know what. I like, it's hitting me different. And my estimation is that the 14, the 13 seasons, some of which we've seen, some which we have not, of the Doctor growing since the Time War have had a profound change on him.
Okay.
And maybe, yeah, it's just like anything with therapy. Once you start getting over traumas, you're able to see things with a different level of clarity. And maybe just estimation that maybe that's what's going on with Chuti this particular season. He may go through some things in this finale, or
Mhm.
may go through some things that once again will change his attitude and persona. Especially like we don't even know what is the big mystery behind Ruby.
Mm.
We don't know what the big mystery behind Susan Twist is. We don't know what the big mystery behind the Maestro, and the Maestro plays back to some things, I think it was called the Pantheon or something like that,
Okay.
that really are some things that we haven't seen. I've heard of the toy maker, um, but there's some other things in there that we're not fully, up to date on yet. And I think those things are going to come into play. So again, we going back to David Tennant, like David Tennant was all kind of awkward and kind of, kind of cool, kind of go with the flow. But listen, when he switched it up, when you start talking about him and Christopher Eccleston, when you start talking about the Daleks,
Okay.
hey, they whole attitude flipped. They when he did the Family of Blood,
Mhm.
listen, he went diabolical on them. So I heard the cash register go off
Oh,
again.
oh, right. Oh, let me come and
Jingle
take a look at this.
jingle, defunct.
Hey, what is going on? Yes, thank you so much. Defunct. I like that. We
Thank
are
you.
a small
Thank you,
thank you for
defunct.
entertaining and intelligent reactions and commentary to who. Thank you so much. Let me give you just another applause. Just because you didn't ask us questions, we just gonna fawn over you just a little bit more. Thank you all so much.
Now, somebody threw it in the chat,
Okay.
and I do want to say this. So, our first ever Doctor Who episode was the church at Ruby
Yes.
Bridges,
Very first one ever was Chuti.
but also we understand that there were 60th anniversary edition videos,
Right.
and they were actually in between the 13th, I mean the 14th and the 15th Doctor, and they kind of introduced Chuti.
Okay.
So he popped up in one of those anniversary specials. We have not seen any of those.
No.
And we did that on purpose because where they are supposed to be seen is at the end of, I guess, season 13.
Okay.
So we have left them there. So I know that there's some information in those specials that would probably be very beneficial to us, but we've not seen those. So it's we have to do a very delicate dancing, a balancing act to try to consume Doctor Who as natural and as organically as possible
Yeah.
without spoiling the hell out of ourselves.
Yeah.
Um, I do know, who the new doctors will be. I don't know when they show up. I don't know how they show up. I do know a few of who the companions will be. And actually, I don't know what Syntell knows. So what I do know, I don't share with him until afterwards. Because
Yes.
I hate when people spoil stuff for me, and I don't want to be that guy. So
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much again, Defunct, for that. That is such a generous, generous and kind donation. I just wanted to shout out Andrew Scareborn, who said, "I left a comment on your video of Planet of the Ood about the major problems with the episode with regards to how it wrapped up. Ood slavery as a done deal. Would love to know your thoughts on that. We're probably gonna need just a little bit more context, but I didn't want you to think that we did not see you. Andrew, hop back in there and give us a little more context regarding how that episode closed out, based off of just this little information.
I can
go for
speak
it.
to that real quick.
Okay, go for it.
Because at the end of the Planet of Ood, they said that the Ood brain was singing the song, and all the Oods were singing their song. It was heard on all the planets and all the things in the little the galaxies or whatever,
Right.
and they were being released from the captivity or being the trusted servants or whatever.
Okay.
And it seemed to be like, you know what, wrap it all up, done deal. They're free. Hey, but here's
where's the Ood
we
reparations? where my Ood 40 acres and a mule at? That's all I'm trying to say.
They're gonna give them some cheddar biscuits and some
yeah, I'm still. We still haven't really talked about that Ood episode. Because there's some we could go up. Go ahead, finish your thought. Go ahead.
Here's what we know from African American history, and I'm not gonna say our history because I wasn't ever a slave, so you can keep that shit. However, from African American history, even after slaves in America were released, especially like the slaves in Texas didn't know for several years later, almost 18 months, 2 years later, that slavery was done. And the people in Texas, they knew, but they was like, yeah, who gonna pick all this cotton or tobacco or whatever? They're like, yeah,
They said, y'all free. They said, he said, huh? What?
Yeah, get rid of all the ones who can read and be out here trying to read and tell other people. Hell no.
Oh boy, that's funny. Oh.
So and then it entered Jim Crow, and that was a whole different era. And kind of if you look at history repeating itself, even though it seemed like a done deal, maybe, and I'm not sure because we haven't got there if the Oods is ever revisited, but we know that's not a done deal. It's not just this is not a 30-minute episode of Cosby where you had the problem, you talked about it, it's resolved, it'll never come up again. Yeah. That's not real at all.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
You see DJ Hijack is back.
Oh, okay, beautiful.
DJ Hijack is not playing, and I love it. I love it.
Go ahead, throw it on the screen if you can find it real quick.
I thought I did. Hold on, it moves.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right. Here it is.
There he is. Oh, I didn't even see that. Oh, we already know where you got to get that. Get that applause going on in there. Thank you. You are the big winner, DJ Hijack. Oh, and there was an extra doctor added in the scanning scene. Okay, if we're adding doctors, they need to get the first black doctor in there. There was a black doctor. Yeah, I mean, other than obviously the Chuti, but
so there was a black doctor besides Chuti? Another black doctor?
Now that I don't know. I'm still building my Who awareness as of right now.
DJ Hijack says that Chuti isn't the first black doctor, which that's news to me.
Yeah, it is.
Huh. Now, and he's talking about in this episode of Rogue we just talked about.
Right.
And
I did count them, though.
The way off.
I counted 14.
Did you?
I counted 14 images. Yeah. And that's not including Chuti's image. So I counted 14.
Now, what I heard and what I read was that there's an image in there, but it's before the New Who era. It's more like maybe Wilderness.
Okay.
Where there's another doctor in that the hologram of that doctor being in there made something canon that wasn't necessarily canon before that scene.
Oh, so we're kind of like breaking somebody's comfort zone with that, huh? Okay.
Yeah, so I did read that and I did know that. I think it came from the Wilderness time, but I'm not sure. And I didn't want to go back and do a whole lot of investigation because I felt like there would be spoilers galore in that. So
okay.
Let me just let me just rock.
That is interesting. Let me do a quick shout out real quick. This one is from Alex Simpkin, who I've heard this kind of brought up before regarding, I guess, another reactor. Said, I just wanted to congratulate as Doctor Who YouTuber Mr. TARDIS, praise your commentary on Dot and Bubble. This is the first I've heard of this. So now, after we finish up this live stream, you already know, Rekkai, you already know we're gonna be digging in the crates trying to find what they said. I'm from my understanding, Mr. TARDIS is a highly respected reactor towards YouTube content. So thank you out loud to Mr. TARDIS. I want to look you dead in the eyes and go ahead and give you some of this applause too as well. From one reactor to another, thank you, and thank you, Alex Simpkin, for relaying that message over. Appreciate that. I go on and on and on about the Who community, and there's always going to be some extreme sides of it, but overall the Who community is just mad love. It's so much mad love that comes along with it overall.
I love the people in the chat right now because so the one that they're talking about is the Doctor was Richard E. Grant, who voiced the Doctor in an animated story. He was an alternative number 9. So I don't know. So
and it was an
animated story.
Okay.
Yeah, and I've heard about some of the animated stories. So we're gonna have to go back and find this at some point.
Okay.
Because again, wait a minute. Alternative number 9 too. So it's an animated that would have been in the wilderness just before Christopher Eccleston became the official 9th Doctor. So that was right around or right before where we started, with New Who. So I'm actually very interested in that.
Yeah.
I love the fact that we can throw stuff out there and the chat will answer it for us.
Yeah.
And I do love that even in the chat, I love that they're talking to each other and be like, hey, don't be throwing spoilers out there. Like, don't do that. Like,
yeah, thank you. We are
have to go find out who Mr. TARDIS is, because I'm gonna go look for that comment and then look for who Mr. TARDIS is, because
we've had that name thrown in a few times. Let me see. This is coming from Ben the Rhetoric, who said, "Are you guys getting the Tales of the TARDIS episodes on Disney Plus coming next week?" Are you
familiar with that?
No. What is that? Are they shorts or something? Are they animated pieces? What is it? What's the format?
It is a Tales of the TARDIS, from what I understand, and please correct me in the chat.
Okay.
From what I understand, and I just read about it yesterday, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
That it is an opportunity to kind of revisit older companions and doctors.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's a kind of a real life thing where they talk with a particular doctor and companion and be like, hey, maybe some behind the scenes, or you remember this, or maybe it's a different, offshoot, something else in the world of, kind of like if you think about like Tales of the Jedi, Tales of the Empire.
Okay.
So
I'm with that.
Not exactly sure of how they're going to do it, but from what I understand, because you know how it is too. Like if David Tennant and Freema may have not seen each other in years since they, last filmed together or whatever. So to bring back some of the older doctors and their companions or something is kind of a cool concept.
Okay. All right. I'm with that. I'm down with the supplemental material. I just get a little shy with the new supplemental materials, with any supplemental material, because I don't want it to ruin too much, because I know we're already being very, very risque. As a matter of fact, we had comic book weekend, maybe like about a month ago. Yes. And one of the free comic books I picked up was actually a Doctor Who comic, and I haven't read it because I don't want anything to be spoiled. So there's a lot of complimentary material going on. Oh, is that what I think that is? Yeah.
DJ Hijack is back.
DJ Hijack is back. Thank you so much. You are the big winner. DJ Hijack said Grant also played the Doctor during a comic relief episode, and Lenny Henry played the first Black Doctor in an episode of a comic relief special. Oh, that would be great. I wonder what year that was. If because that context would probably weigh in a lot regarding who a Black Doctor
Alex
could be.
Simpson said that the Lenny Henry Doctor is canon to him.
Okay. Okay.
So, in an episode of Comic Relief Special, I can't wait to see that because I had never heard of Lenny Henry. And and to be honest, and actually it's the chat and the people in our comments that get us together
Mhm.
because um when we first saw Donna during the Christmas special, I had, at least I speaking for myself, I had a visceral uh reaction to Donna because she really annoyed me. And I did
You
not
weren't the
like
only one. She rubbed us the wrong way at first.
I did not like my
Yeah.
first impression of Donna. I did not like Donna. Um, and I did not know that she was a future companion before we got to that
Right.
episode. You know, so Martha had quit. No, not Martha. What it wasn't Martha yet. Rose was gone,
Mhm.
and we thought that it might be Donna. And I was like, oh, you know. Um, here's the one thing, someone in the chat in one of the comments was like, "We understand you don't like Donna, and we get it, but go check out this." And they sent us a
Yeah,
YouTube link
that was
to a
brilliant.
short. It was a comedic short where David Tennant was teaching like a high school class to some kids,
Yeah.
and Catherine Tate was in it as a high school student. And she gave me a completely different vibe. Like she was absolutely hilarious in there and very likable.
Mm.
And and that's also a testament to the writing because the actors have to give what the writers put on the page.
Right.
And if she was supposed to be annoying in that particular episode, listen, mission accomplished.
Mm.
And to be fair, I am loving Donna this particular season because she is so much different than Rose and Martha and even Ruby. And I like the fact that she is able to go her own way as a companion and be a real companion without being all goo eyed and head over heels in love with the doctor and
Yeah, because that can
having
get
a
a little
hard
old
time
hat.
focus on,
Yeah.
yeah, like, and I really hated that for Martha. And then even with Rose, she got the short end of the stick a lot on that too,
Yeah.
because the doctor was playing right at her face, but that's
Yeah.
neither here nor there. It just
let me address another comment real quick, and also I want to ask the chat a question as well because I know we are already an hour and 14 minutes in. I know our live
ooh,
streams are typically about an hour and 30 minutes, so I wanted to ask you a question first, Rekkai, see how you felt about it before I posed it
yeah.
to the question. Did we want to kind of like talk about Rogue a little bit? And that is episode 6, just a little bit. You want to dip into some Rogue conversation, and at least open up the chat to
Well,
if they want to ask any questions regarding it. And also, don't worry, John Campbell. I know you're over there like, I see my chat on there. Please say my name. Please say my name. I'm certainly going to say that. But Rekkai, how you feeling about Rogue so far?
well, here's the thing. Even though our initial thing was we were going to get on here and talk about Planet of the Ood and Dot and Bubble and
Okay.
some of the racism that we saw in those particular episodes and how it kind of rubbed us the wrong way or what have you.
We haven't
And
talked
just
about
want
Ood
to
yet.
know how our Whovian community felt about it, and did you see what we saw?
Yeah.
Um, but we did tell them they could ask us anything. So listen, I'm game. We can talk about Rogue. We can talk about whatever that you want to talk about that we have seen so far.
I'm
So
with that. I feel like, we got like at least another, bare minimum, we got at least another 15 minutes with you all. And there's a good little segue question that came from John Campbell. Thank you so much. Who said, the biggest question I have of this current season so far, who is Miss Flood? What's with the break of the fourth wall every so often? Who is Susan Twist? Who's Ruby's parents? Why the snow? I thought this was a really good segue question to kind of like send us into a lot of different directions. Do you have a tinfoil hat theory regarding any of these questions? Thank you so much, John Campbell.
the only one I have
Okay.
is around Ruby's parents.
Okay.
I'm still I have really not put together any solid theory about the snow. And even to the fact where it's meta where uh Ruby even said that in Rogue. Like, I sometimes, make snow or whatever. Like, it's a thing now, but I don't have a solid theory on that. I'm at a loss. And maybe some behind the scenes information on it came in some of these seasons we haven't seen. Maybe not. Um, I think it has something to do with that pantheon or wherever the maestro was talking about the toy maker and these other folks that we haven't seen, the big bads.
Right.
And I think that's where Susan Twist is going to come around. Because even you look at when we went from season 3, and you kept hearing the name. What was dude's name? Uh, the politician. I can't remember what his name was.
Oh, right.
I just
Yeah, I
can't
can't
remember
think of the
Bad
top of my
Wolf.
name
Bad
either.
Wolf.
Yeah.
I can't forget Bad Wolf, but Harold Saxon.
You're right.
Harold Saxon.
Okay.
Harold Saxon turned out to be, you know, somebody else. And that was even, Professor Yana turned out to be the master, who turned out to be Harold Saxon. So it's almost like they gave us the okey doke, like they hit us with the hezzy, and like, wow, I didn't even see that coming. Like Harold Saxon had been there every episode, the entire season. And it's not till we got to the end and they hit us with the hesitation, like, you thought. And like even the fact where Martha was like, we missed because of whatever their adventures at the end of time, at the end of the world. She was like, I was going to vote for him. Like, even to the fact, like, where he had already, that had happened and he had gone back in time and put certain things in place. And I was like, dang, that was pretty good. So with, with the Susan, the twist, maybe it's going to be something like that. Like,
Okay.
like one of those things that, okay, it's obvious you've noticed her every episode, but almost like, a red herring or just a great illusionist, your Chris Angels and your, David Copperfields, or what was the other dude I couldn't stand? David Blaine. He had no personality. It's like, while you busy looking at this hand, the other hand is over here doing, God knows what,
Right.
so.
Okay. All right. I'm putting together a poll real quick, man. So grab the microphone from me real quick and keep it moving for me.
Okay.
Let me see.
Let me see. I'm trying to look through the chat because somebody. All right. Oh, hold on. This is interesting. So, Chris Field said that he has a working theory that Ruby doesn't really exist. A bit like the
Doing a
toy
Tyler
maker
Durden
bringing
effect.
James to life, Ruby is the story of a perfect companion brought to life. Now, again, we don't know about the toy maker. And the only thing that we really know about the toy maker is the mention of the toy maker in the Devil's Core by not only the doctor, but the maestro.
Okay.
So I don't really know what the toy maker's deal is. The only thing I know about the toy maker is in the toy maker in DC Comics.
Maybe my lore isn't strong enough for that. Okay.
I think DC Comics has a toy maker, and in the toy maker DC Comics does the same thing, breeds toys alike, but they use all the small.
Oh, you're talking
as,
about somebody
like,
that's separate from the Whoverse. Okay. Yes. DC. Yes. DC does have a toy maker.
So hearing the name the toy maker gives me the same connotation. Then that means that they bring inanimate objects to life in some kind of way. I don't know why, but I know that the doctor's reaction to the maestro was one of abject fear.
Yeah.
And he referenced the toy maker, even saying, I couldn't beat him. So we have not got there yet, but maybe that's what Chris is saying, that it's something to go with that.
Okay.
No idea if that's real or not, but.
Well, thank you, Chris Field, for doing a bit of a segue. I also brought in a segue question just to the chat. I was asking, out of the last 4 episodes, which have gradually gained more and more steam for the Disney Plus rendition of Doctor Who, which of those 4 episodes have been your favorite? And that's between, 73 Yards, Boom, Dot and Bubble, and Rogue. I'm curious. And just another question to the chat as well. Based off of the strength of those last four, which I think are the strongest of the season so far, does it make you more hopeful for Disney's rendition, especially considering that there's only 8 episodes this season? And how do you feel about that, Rekkai? Just kind of like get the ball moving with that.
I hate the fact. So we are used to there being 14 episodes.
Mhm.
Like right now, we're used to there being 13 episodes and a Christmas episode. Disney is counting the Christmas episode as episode 1, and then all the 6 episodes that follow that. So that way we're leading into this week's season finale. I don't like that.
Mm.
I don't, because I mean, maybe they have their reasons. I don't know, for whatever reason. I don't like it. I want more episodes. I feel like especially it's unfortunate that Chuti had to step out to finish his filming obligations for Sex Education, that TV show.
Okay.
I really think that we did not get enough chance to really get to know and understand this doctor. And even though, Millie had her own episode as, Ruby in 73 Yards, I still feel the same for her. Like, and going off the fact that Martha only had 1 season, Christopher Eccleston had 1 season, I know that Chuti has signed on for a 2nd season of being a doctor. I don't know anything about his companion or companions.
Okay.
The only thing that I do know is that if we're done with Ruby, if she decides to bow out, I don't know that we actually learned anything about her. I mean, she was adorable. I mean, how much could you really put into 45, 50 minutes for us to feel like we knew this particular character?
Right.
I mean,
Now,
we needed 2 seasons of Rose to understand her. And at least with Martha, she bowed out after 1, but I got 14 episodes of Martha.
right.
You
Well,
know,
now the actress is not signed on for another season, right? This is her one and only season. She's
Millie
already done,
Gibson?
right? Right. From my understanding, right? Or am I wrong on that?
I don't know.
Okay, I thought I had heard something about that, but that was going to add to my fan. That was going to make me kind of like co-sign what maybe somebody else was saying, that maybe she is not
And please
necessarily there.
don't correct that right there in the chat, because we'll find out when we find out.
Yeah.
We trying to stay open since we're current with this particular season 14. But
Yeah. Wow. The chat is bubbling regarding the poll so far. A resounding 73 yards has been the favorite episode so far out of the 4 that have been mentioned. What's been your favorite so far, Rekkai, out of Boom, 73 Yards, Dot and Bubble, and Rogue?
as much as I hate to say it, I think I have to agree that 73 Yards has been my favorite episode. Rogue was the most fun episode.
Rogue was fun.
Rogue was fun.
Rogue
was a fun episode. But 73 Yards was, and if I didn't know any better, I know that Stephen Moffat wrote Boom. I would have thought that he wrote 73 Yards because it was creepy. It had a horror type vibe to it, but not quite. Yeah, it was just a creepy, mind-bending episode. And I love the fact that Russell T. Davies already said he'll never tell what the other Rose was saying to people that made them bounce. Like, that almost broke my heart. And my eyes almost started sweating when her mama went by in the cab and looked at her with that glare like,
and your mama be like, I can't rock with you no more,
not
right?
your mama.
Like, your mama like,
I
ain't really like you, just to let you know.
Your mother didn't want you, did she?
Yeah. It reminded me the last time we saw something like that was done, that I can remember was it Lost in Translation? I think that was the name of it. With Bill Murray and Black Widow, a girl who plays Black Widow. I can't think of her name.
Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, Scarlett Johansson. Yeah. And I think the director said the same thing too. I was like, I'm not going to say what that thing is. That's between those two characters, and we as the viewers just have to just be privy that there is a secret, and we will never know. And I like that. Kind of gives it a lot more strength. Go ahead.
Felicia said it, and you know what? I know SpongeBob said it, and it really is a Freudian slip.
Yeah.
And again, you have to remember, we only know 4 companions.
Mm-hmm.
So we know Rose, Ruby, and they both have, names that are very similar. They're very similar and, similar, not at all alike, in looks. Martha and Donna, we only know those 4. So, yes, I did mean Ruby. If I said Rose, I did mean Ruby.
Let me see. Big shout out to Toriex, who said we haven't seen snow in the last 3 episodes. Not that it isn't there, but just saying. I have noted that the snow hasn't been a once an episode thing like Susan Twist is. Yeah. All the Susan Twist renditions. It wouldn't be surprised me if Susan Twist and Ruby are the same people as well, kind of like how we saw with the lady in 73. I could kind of maybe see that angle, like an old another version of it. What was the one? What was the words that was written everywhere? The Rose kept saying. What was the name of it? Bad Wolf.
The Rose kept saying.
Yeah, Bad Wolf.
Yeah, Bad Wolf. Bad Wolf.
I'm wondering if it got that same kind of buzz back then with Bad Wolf, and everybody like, what is that thing? Like everybody's talking about. Of course, social media wasn't a thing back then.
Well, we had Bad Wolf. We had Harold Saxon. Yeah. That was season 3. So we had how long? Bad Wolf was in season 1, right?
Yes.
Did we have anything running in season 2? I know. I remember Harold Saxon season 3.
No, not that I can think of, off the top of my head.
And then right now, I'm not seeing anything that's kind of that reoccurring thing in season 4 with Donna just yet. Or if it is, I have missed it.
Okay. Hey, we got to almost an hour and a half super quick. It is an hour and 28 minutes. This is nuts. I say, let's get the people what they want. Let's give them like 10 more minutes. We are out of here when the clock hits an hour and 40 minutes. We are right now at an hour and 28. Thank you all so much for all of the great questions. You all have done a good job of just driving the conversation forward with all of your great questions. And if you need a question that needs to be asked immediately, of course, that's what the super chat is for. But if you are just leaving just random questions as well, please do not feel obligated to have to give a super chat. We will try and address those as well. But it's just that it's like, I need to be heard right now. Then go ahead and, do that thing and you can get, some of that. I'm saying we got that applause on standby for you over there. Also, one more thing too, while we're taking like a little mini break before we close out the final 10 minutes, please, everybody, just take a moment to just head on over to Rekkai's channel. You can see the link on the top. It's / @Noop from DeVille. Please, it's all about showing love and support to content creators. Believe you me, if there was a way that we could get his super chat running right now, we would, but he's still the rookie of the year. And we are working very, very, very diligently to get him to his first 1,000 subscribers. So I know the 170 of y'all that's in here right now, head on over there, hit the subscribe button, and then, give us a thumbs up in the chat just to show that you are showing support. And you're not just doing it just to do it. You're doing it because it is really solid content. Like you see me, I ramble, I talk, I jump from spot to spot. Rekkai is like the other part of the yin and yang. He's a lot more calmer, more collect, more introspective with his thoughts, and that's what you get with his channel. It's not just me just Rekkai's like, no, go on, sit down. I'm gonna learn you something real quick. That's why I love it.
And see, I feel like I'm the one that runs off at the mouth. Like I can talk, and maybe that's why getting us together to both do a whole lot of talking will run up an hour and a half on y'all and didn't even realize it. Like,
huge shout out to Max14 Star. He already subbed. See, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. SpongeBob talking about hell yes. Thank you. Just sub. Thank you.
Look at that.
It goes a long way.
Jerome Newton.
Thank you.
And got Mr. Tardis to promote my channel. And hey, listen, I appreciate that so much. I am on the hunt to get to 1,000 subscribers and really to get my my viewing time up. I gotta get some more watches and And I'm really desperately trying to make my videos a little bit shorter, a little bit more palatable, especially, you guys don't have a whole lot of time. I know they can be long. I am long-winded. I'm working on it. Um, but I just feel like some of you, if you leave in the middle in the first few minutes because you don't have the time, try to go back and watch the rest because I feel like I try to sum it all up and make good points at the end. So I don't want you to miss out on any of that. Not saying that you have to listen to everything I say, but
No, yes, you do. Go on and get you learn you something. It's all good. Listen, big huge shout out to SD Getting said I love Rekkai's deep dives. I love it too. I really wish there was like a camera in the room sometimes when we just chop it up because some of our really good stuff never even gets on camera. But we're working on that.
And this right here, did I hit?
Oh, I'm sorry. I already moved to another one. There you go.
No, I wanted to do Donnie Ellick right here, and then we'll go back to SpongeBob. Favorite reaction today was me jumping at the Weeping Angels for the first time. Listen, yeah, they got me. Listen, hey,
I love it though.
Listen, I love listen. Hey, those of y'all that know that watch us know that I don't do horror.
He does not do horror.
So yeah, so the jump scares. Listen, if you want to see something, not only the Weeping Angels, go back and watch Syntell and my reaction watching the movie Alien.
You gotta see Alien.
The Alien series.
Yo,
so
Alien
we watched Alien and Aliens on his channel. Go back and watch that. Listen, hey.
Oh, I love it.
I don't do horror, and if you show me anything with bugs like insects, I will lose it. Listen, I'll burn the building down. Like I don't.
Oh man, big love, nothing but love. Yo, SpongeBob, who said Rekkai's deep dive is perfect content. Yeah, for making your coffee in the morning, getting your brain grow. I couldn't agree with that more.
Thank you.
Yeah, it really is. It's really good. Like if you're stuck in traffic and and you're like you just need something to kind of like get the juices flowing. Rekkai's deep dive is a great way to do that. Think of it as like an audio book in a sense, like a podcast in a sense.
Hey, Original Diva said, she's like, I feel you. She said, I don't do the Weeping Angels. And my problem now is at the very end of the episode where they start showing all the other regular statues that you pass by every day.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I go by any statue, metal or solid, I be looking at it weird, like, you better not move. Like,
oh, and just for everybody, thank you for giving us a moment so that we can shower Rekkai with love because he deserves it. He really does, and he's just getting started. That's the thing that's so much fun about it. Big huge shout out to Tribe Queen. Hey, if I remember you, I think I remember you on some of the Bridgerton ones as well. I watch the deep dives and always like the personal stories to open them up. Hey, we are getting closer to the hour and 40-minute mark. I want to hop back on some of this Who stuff so we make sure we can close out giving the people what they want. Let us know regarding any of the top 4 episodes because the poll is still going. There's still 46 votes and it's going to be a resounding win for 73 yards regarding the best of the 4 episodes. Can I pull your ear just a hot second? And because I know we didn't really talk about Ood, man. And that was one of those episodes that really had us kind of like scratching our heads because of how overt it was with the messaging. It's like, this is what we're talking about. Where is the previous one? We're talking about Planet of the Ood season 4. Episode, I think it was like 3. I think that's what it was. In regards to the other episode that we saw with Dot and Bubble. Sorry, there we go. Do you prefer to be subtly taught a lesson, or do you like it when it's kind of like, this is what we talk about? Like Ood is like, we talking about slavery. That's what we talking about right here. Whereas Dot and Bubble was like, could be talking about this. Like nobody really talks about like how social media really was such a really big thing in Dot and Bubble, but now we've changed like how we're talking about and seeing that particular episode.
Now, just for a bit of context, I prefer for the message to be subtle. I don't like to be hit over the head with it, because unless the writer comes out and tell you, this is what I meant when I wrote this, this is what I wanted you to get from it, then we really don't know. And I like for you to be able to draw your own interpretation.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you miss you miss it altogether, and sometimes you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
I think when at the time when Planet of the Ood came out, you're talking about 2007, 2008, something like that.
Right.
There was also a big push here in America, especially in Florida and in Texas, to change the textbooks. And I brought this up. There was a huge push to change the narrative of the slaves, that they weren't slaves. They wanted to. They had actually went ahead and changed the textbooks, because many of the major American textbook creators are in Texas. They changed the textbooks to say, and they took out every inference of the word slave and put in there worker. And it became viral here in America anyway, and it became a big thing because it's like, wait, no, you're not going to start trying to reinvent the narrative because you don't want to deal with it. You don't want to talk about reparations. You don't want to talk about the role that many other people had on slavery, and still the idea, the mindset behind slavery. It's been 80 years since Germany has been able to get out from under the yoke that was Nazi Germany. But they apologized, they erased damn near all inferences and mentions of Hitler, the Nazi party, and they've done everything they could as a country to make amends, because they're like, yeah, we was dead wrong. America was like, you know, and we not apologizing for nothing. And I don't know if that's just the American spirit, that too much asshole in us, but they, and now I don't even want to get into our current political debacle with the still behind some of those sentimentalities. So
Okay.
a lot of that is not gone away for us. The Civil War ended in 1865, and you're talking 160 years later, and we're still dealing with the same stuff. So
yeah. So let's talk about it, but also let's make an art out of it. It's kind of like what you're saying regarding, like, you don't have to beat me over the head and be like, this is what we're talking about. You can have an artistic conversation. I know we keep going back to that movie. Oh my gosh, the Book of Clarence, because it kind of does that. It's a very interesting story. But I agree with you as well. I like to be taught a lesson and not have it be like smashed into my face. Don't get me wrong. I like Planet of the Ood. I liked it because of the way we enjoyed it, the way that we interacted with it. We poked fun at it a little bit. And I know people get real sensitive about, poking fun about, social issues and stuff like that. But to watch it with you, Rekkai, it was like, oh yeah. We had Chicken George comment regarding some of that, and 40 Acres and a Mule regarding like that. But I would rather, if I'm not gonna lie.
When you said that Ood came with a fiddle, though, I about lost it. Oh my God, I about lost it.
But if I preferred my art in my TV shows, in my movies, I want to be able to think. I do like dot and bubble. I like I said, I wish I could go back and be like, yeah, I caught that out from the beginning, but I didn't. But that's what makes that dot and bubble such an interesting conversation piece. It's a good piece of water cooler talk, because I probably left that thinking it was more of a tale about the bigger pictures of social media and how we're oblivious and we can't get the phones out of our face. And it did such a masterful job of making it more than that. It made it more than just social media. It made it more than just class. It included the race discussion. I like that type of art. And, I love going on my socials, especially my Twitters, just to hear what the sentiment is regarding some of the episodes, because I'm not gonna lie, my echo chamber of social media has a lot of black geeky nerdy artists. So to hear what that small microcosm feels about it is always high comedy. And then of course when you come to see us and see me on the Syntell channel and everybody that's associated within that umbrella, you get another glimpse of that microcosm. Because there's a lot of folks that just don't have access to that people that look like me and you, Rekkai, that love these Doctor Who conversations, that love looking at stuff like Interview with the Vampire, that love Bridgerton, because of the social nuances that are kind of like involved with that makes these things interesting, and I think we offer a unique perspective to everybody that chimes in on some of this. So yeah, let's keep it artsy. I know I've come a long way from what the initial question was, but keep it artistic, keep it thoughtful, and of course, in telling a story, you've got to keep emotion somewhere tied into it. I need to feel something before we roll out of here. Big huge shout out, hey, to PR. Hey, you get some of that and some of the applause as well. I know you like, listen, Syntell, you're doing it again. You're talking too much. Russell T. Davies. What's this? Russell T. Davies' book, React to BBC Years and Years. Huh. So there is a book that Russell T. Davies made?
No, I think Years and Years is a show on BBC that I think that
he's a producer
Russell
on?
T. Davies did. Yeah. And PR also put up another chat, a question. I think we missed it, but it was any end of this Disney season predictions. And actually, we're probably gonna have to wrap it up on this one because my kids are standing here in the window, giving me every sign in
I'll
the
do mine
world
super
to
quick.
get off this thing.
I think we're gonna come up with another big bad. That's my big tinfoil hat, and I think the big bad is connected to the old lady that we're seeing all over the place, and I think it's gonna be a big cliffhanger, because if Disney Plus is going to promote a show like this, they need to make sure they get a return on their investment, and that is bringing people in for the second season. So whatever it is, I think we're just going to have us sitting there with our eyes and our mouths agape. How you feeling?
Probably the same thing. That I think if you thought that certain episodes were good or bad or whatever, I think they're going to unload with all of their firepower in this particular episode and probably end on a cliffhanger to bring you back to season 2, And I think for the people who walked away, I think, like a lot of times we talk about the pilot is what's supposed to bring people in.
Yep.
Well, this is Doctor Who. You didn't really need Chuti or any of that to bring people in. We were going to come anyway to see what's going on. I think they're going to do, gangbusters on the finale to bring some people back.
Yeah.
And be like, if you thought it was bad, episode 1 or episode 2 or whatever, you should have stayed because it got really good.
Yeah. Have you seen the name of the last episode? At least the name of the episode. You want me to tell you?
No.
What is it? It's called Empire of Death.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Empire of Death. There's a lot that you just get your brain kind of just rolling, right? Yeah. It's like, oh, okay. And the second last episode, in case you didn't know, the name of that episode is called The Legend of Ruby Sunday. So I think that's going to be a reveal episode. We're going to finally figure out like a little bit more.
So we got 2 episodes left?
It's 2 episodes. Episode 7, which comes out June 14th this Friday, and then the season finale, June 21st of the following Friday. So yeah. It's gonna be a big one, and you already know we're gonna have another live for the season finale to wrap this up. So at least wrap the Disney Plus one up, and then also to let you all know that if you've been enjoying the Disney Plus reactions, if you probably already can see that me and Rekkai have done a reaction from the initial redo from 2005, or the expansion of the universe, and we are currently on season 4, episode 5, 6. I think the Patreon members already have some of the ones that have not been released. I know what y'all are saying. I know, wrap this up, but I do got to plug the Patreon because it's very important that you all get the full experience. And that is what you all are seeing are very small, shortened versions on the YouTube. And if you want to get the full experience and you can see all of our reaction and all of its splendor, you can head on over to the Patreon. It's www.patreon.com.
Hold on. I got something. And I know that she's on here. Thank you, Christina Lewis. I just got a Patreon, an actual a paid member of Patreon just a minute ago. Thank you so much, Christina Lewis.
Yes. So the
Listen,
Patreon is very
Christina
important.
Lewis and me about to be best friends. I'm gonna be like, girl, what you want? I'm just gonna make content just for you.
Yo, you have no idea. It really means a lot because that's legitimately what keeps the lights on. Don't get me wrong, YouTube, mad love for YouTube and the algorithm, but the Patreon is a very good way of showing support and saying that, you know, you love your creators and you get something really cool out of it. So make sure you head on over and check out Rekkai's Patreon. Please head on over and hit that subscription button on his YouTube page. I'm done. You have anything you want to close out before we hit the kill switch on such a wonderful stream?
You know, we've done a few lives together, and I don't know, but I think this might be our best one.
This is our best one. Yeah.
I've enjoyed, you know, of course, we love talking about Doctor Who. I can talk about Doctor Who all day long. And I hate my kids are rushing me. I hate that I'm not already at home, but I got to go. But not only that, look for some more from us. I am going to do a deep dive about not Planet of the Ood itself. I am going to do a deep dive about Rogue, and I do have a couple other deep dives that'll be coming this week. So make sure that you keep checking for us. I'm going to try to do lives a little bit more often, but yeah, we thank everyone so much for showing up on this. We kept a standing room only house. We might have to move to you know, bigger venues. Like so we did it up nice this time.
That's what I'm saying, man. Thank y'all so much. You see the smile on our face. Hey, and we will catch y'all on the next project. All right, y'all. Take care. Peace.